Hey guys, it's Allison Pierce with Potomac CrossFit and The Humble Gourmand. I'm here with the lovely Liz Corbich, also of PCF and The Humble Gourmand. We're here to just run you through a couple of paleo recipes to help you with the paleo challenge. We've got about 60 challengers who are 2 weeks into the challenge right now. Can I say challenge one more time, do you think? And we just wanted to give you guys some more inspiration and recipes that you can make at home for an easy weeknight meal. So the first thing we're going to do is a coconut dill salmon. We have about a pound or so of salmon from Whole Foods. I find that Whole Foods is generally one of the better places to get seafood around here because you can get wild caught, fresh stuff there. So we have, I think it's a little less than a pound. We're going to take that. We really don't need to do a ton of prep to it. Like, it's good to go. It's already been deboned and everything at Whole Foods. So we're just going to lay it on top of a bed of fresh dill. So that's just about like 4 or 5 sprigs, rinsed off and put on top of a little bit of aluminum foil. And then the salmon gets laid right on top so that when it cooks, some of the moisture comes out of that salmon. It steams the dill and will infuse it with all that lovely flavor. So then from there, we just need a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper. Remember, when you're seasoning food, you always want to try to season from high above instead of really close to your food, because then you get pockets of salt everywhere. If you season from nice high heights there, you get a good even mix of salt. Same thing with pepper. Fresh ground, definitely the way to go. Do not accept any substitutes. And then Liz is going to put the finishing touches on here, which is she's going to dot it with a little bit of coconut oil. You can get that at Whole Foods. You can get it from Tropical Traditions. A couple other places around here will carry it. But it's really good because it's in solid form, and when it cooks, it's just going to melt and again sort of infuse the salmon with its flavor. And it's paleo, so you can go kind of crazy. Fantabulous Liz. So I've got the oven preheating to 400 degrees, and it's probably going to be about 8 to 10 minutes for this size of piece of fish, maybe a little bit less if you like it on the rarer side. And if you're a fully cooked fish person, you want to go for 10 minutes or so. So into the oven it goes. When you're done, coconut oil has all sort of melted in there. Fish is nicely cooked. When the white fat starts to come out of the salmon, you know that it's done. It's usually a little bit more rare in the thicker parts, and that's how I like it, a good medium rare there. So that's it, coconut dill salmon. Could not be easier. So now we're going to make a really nice vegetable side dish recipe. We're going to use some radishes that I've gotten from my CSA subscription here. Some of you may have seen the boxes in the back of the gym that are delivered every week. They're from Even Star Farm. Really, really great produce all season long. You can get a winter subscription, spring, summer, and fall. So we're doing radishes today just so we can give you an idea of what they look like when they come out of the ground, which is dirty and kind of scary, and then what they look like after they get washed, which is bright and beautiful and really, really nice. And then after they're prepared, we just basically wash them and cut the roots and the tips off here, and then cut them into roughly equal sized pieces. So we got a couple different kinds. Even Star Farm grows like beautiful heirloom organic radishes, but pretty much any radishes will do for this recipe. You just want to wash up what you've got, clean off any dirt, any roots that are left here, take off that root tip there and the other tip on the other end. Get them in equal pieces, and then we're going to make like a really easy vinaigrette for them. So it's just going to be olive oil, a couple tablespoons of that, and then maybe 1 tablespoon of balsamic vinegar. What this is doing here. I'm going to give her a shake or two of fresh ground black pepper. Looks good. Fantastic. And this is basically just going to get whisked together and then tossed with the radishes and roast them in the oven. If you're a radish fan, you probably prefer them raw, sliced up, nice and crunchy, maybe with a little bit of olive oil, a little bit of salt. So this is good if you're getting sick of radishes and you want to try something a little bit different. The roasting will mellow them out quite a bit. Very nice.
Just practicing.
Just practicing. But the roasting, as I said, it'll make them nice and mellow, a little bit different. They won't be as crunchy, so that might be a drawback for some folks, but I like them because they're just a little bit different. That'll be good. And I'm just going to sort of generously coat them with that lovely vinaigrette. You can just use your hands, you can use a spoon if you're afraid of getting dirty, but clearly we are not here. So we're just gonna give them a nice little toss, and then I like to make sure with any vegetable that you're gonna roast, you wanna make sure you spread it out evenly in the pan so that it gets cooked evenly. If they sit on top of each other, they tend to steam instead of roast. So go it in the oven, about 400 degrees for generally about 10 to 15 minutes here. So we're back. We're gonna try one more vegetable side dish recipe now. That's gonna be some braised collard greens. This is a really good, easy winter recipe for for Swiss chard, for rainbow chard, kale, any kind of hearty, good winter green that you have. Will stand up really well to braising that's cooking with a little bit of liquid over slow heat. You always want to pick through a bunch. This is a bunch of collards here. And pick through and look for anything that's really, really wilted. This one's looking a little bit sad. And we've got a couple dark edges here, but nothing really brown or yellow or really wilted. That's what you want to just toss. But this here is fine. It'll perk up in a little bit of cold water. It'll be just fine. So what you want to do with greens like this, they definitely need to be washed, even if they're organic, even if they're from the farm. They always recommend that you give them one more good wash. And the one part of the green that's not so great for eating is the rib here. It's really, really tough. So what you can do is just place it flat on a cutting board and just cut down either side of it with a sharp knife. Slice that rib right out. You can hand it to your lovely assistant. In my house, what Chad and I occasionally do is have like wars of sorts with these. They're good for like tickling your friends or make up your own use. Excellent. If you get annoyed with me, you can poke me with it. But from there, just give them a good slice. Get it into roughly bite-sized pieces. Remember, they're going to cook down quite a bit. And then we're just going to wash them all together. We've got some already sliced up here in the colander. I forgot what it was called just then. So I'm gonna give them a quick wash over here at the sink. What we're gonna do is get the pan ready for the greens by getting some aromatics going. So that's gonna be about 1 yellow onion, whole, just peeled and chopped, that we've got in there. So that's gonna provide a really good flavor base for these greens. And we've also got 3 cloves of garlic, and those can be whole. They just need to be peeled. Gonna go in there whole, again, just to provide a little bit of flavor in the oil. And what I like to saute these in to get started is pork lard. Nothing better. Is there anything better than pork lard? I don't think so. So this is rendered pork fat. This is something we sell at the Humble Gourmand. You can also render your own. So we're just gonna put in about a spoonful of that and throw that over some heat. Liz, it's all you. Let's put it on like medium high, we'll say, just to get it going. But you'll probably want to saute that, bring that down to medium low once that gets going, and get that onion and garlic going there. So the last thing that's going to go in, we're over medium heat on the stove there, just heating up those onions and garlic, and we're going to put in some smoked ham hock. Smell it. Yeah. Delicious. Smoky. It's kind of like bacon. So what that does again is going to infuse those onions and that garlic with a really nice smoky pork flavor, which if your greens taste like pork, you're going to be a happy person. So all that's going in the pot, and we're going to saute for about 8 to 10 minutes. All right, so we got the onion sauteing over here. We're getting to a nice sort of translucent color. Not sure if you guys can see that there. You start to get those translucent onions and you get the really nice onion aroma, then you know you're getting about fully sauteed, and that's the point where you're going to pack in the collard greens into the dish. So they're going to go on top of that ham hock, garlic, onion, all of it in there. Liz is going to kind of pack the greens around that ham hock, and I'm going to add just about a quart of chicken stock. I really like the Swanson brand. It works really well. They don't pay me though, so don't think I'm advertising for them. Any chicken stock is fine. So you just want to fill this up here. You should hear that bubbling start to quiet down a little bit. Good. So that's just about 3/4 of this container here, so probably about 20 ounces. Then the last touch here is 2 bay leaves. It can be Turkish, California, whatever you like. Just jam them right in there. So your greens should just be covered with the broth there, and what you're going to do is cover. Thank you, Liz. Fantastic. You're going to set a timer for about 45 minutes and let those slow cook from there. After 45 minutes, you want to check it. You want to make sure that they're flavored the way you like by tasting the liquor. They call it the pot liquor. The greens have been cooking in, and make sure you adjust the salt and the pepper. They'll probably need a little bit more of each to be super tasty. But those are your braised collard greens. Enjoy. So the last thing that we're going to make today is the meatloaf base. This can be made into burgers, meatballs, meatloaf. depending on your degree of laziness is how I decide. If I'm feeling really lazy, I just pack it into a pan and make it into meatloaf. If I'm feeling a little bit feistier, meatballs or burgers for the grill. But all you need is a couple pounds of really good ground meat. That could be ground beef, ground veal, ground pork. What am I forgetting?
Lamb.
Ground lamb, ground bison, all of those tasty. It's really good to mix them up too so you get different flavors in there. We've got a pound of ground veal here today. This is the really good pasture-raised stuff that we sell at the Humble Gourmand. So it's no hormones, no antibiotics, none of the bad stuff, only the good stuff. And we're basically going to doctor this up with only a couple of things to make it sort of bind together. That's what an excellent farm fresh egg is for. I'm going to crack that sucker in there. And we're also going to throw in a little bit of mustard. You can use any mustard that you have. I happen to have some Grey Poupon and some whole grain Dijon mustard from France. At least Trader Joe's says it's from France. So I'm just going to throw this in there, and I'm going to give you my handy fork to mix. I'm just going to do a little bit of each kind of mustard. Why not? Whoa! Mustard disaster. So I like to mix meatloaf or meatballs or burgers with a fork because it helps keep the meat light. It doesn't pack it in. If you have to use your hands, you can, but that fork is going to keep the texture nice and light, so that'll be good. So we've got some mustard. I'm also going to hit this with a little bit of salt again. I like to use a good kosher salt. You don't have to spend a ton of money on sea salt for this kind of thing, but if you have it, it's great. Anything's better than that, like crappy iodized stuff that's about this big. So we got a little bit of kosher salt. We of course need some fresh ground black pepper. Liz, you are doing a stunning job. Fantastic. And so that egg is in there to create a little bit of binder when it cooks. The proteins in the egg are going to help bind the meat particles together. This fabulously mixed ground beef, egg, mustard, spices. You can throw in anything else in here that you like. Cayenne pepper. What else do you like to put in yours?
Garlic,
fantastic. Worcestershire sauce. I mean, pretty much anything that tastes good to you goes great in a hamburger. Like we said, from here you can go to burgers, you can do meatballs, you can do sliders, or you can just be lazy and do meatloaf, which is what I like to do a lot of the time. So for meatloaf, I would generally just pack that into a little loaf pan here. And that's going to bake in the oven. I put it in around 350 for about an hour. You know it's done when it starts to bubble all over the place, and you can see that the fat has started to separate from the meat. So when you actually serve it, you just want to drain that off and then slice it, and you're good to go. Paleo meatloaf. Enjoy.